Hi and welcome back to Bride Society. Today we are discussing common wedding mistakes. So mistakes you might make in your wedding planning that we've encountered, maybe quite a few weddings that people have maybe stumbled into, or or friends when they're talking about it and knowing problems that have kind of come up. So we are laying out the top mistakes that we have encountered to help you avoid them, run free, and have a successful planning experience and wedding day.
So I think the main one that we're both quite eager to kind of
hammer home,
yes, is insurance, and kind of not having insurance being a mistake. Now it is an added expense when you're planning your wedding, but it is so worth it if something goes wrong.
Because we appreciate it's something that you're spending money on that you never usually see anything from, right? And that's kind of disheartening when something's already so expensive.
Well, I mean, it's great if nothing goes wrong and you
But
yes, if something does go wrong and it means you're potentially out of pocket and then you can't kind of replace it, if a supplier lets you down and you can't get that money back, you might not be able to afford to replace them. Now, not to scare you or anything,
horror story.
A friend of mine planning her wedding, everything going great, and the venue burnt down. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be a common scenario that you're going to meet, but it meant that had she not had insurance, she would have potentially lost her deposit on that venue and not been able to get another one. She might not have been able to afford it. She did have to change the date of the wedding, went to find another venue because it was quite close to the wedding that it happened. So that would have, I would imagine, would have protected her had other suppliers not been able to kind of also change to her new date.
Yeah, and it would have been classed as her fault because she's moving the date as far as those other suppliers.
So obviously that is like an extreme example, and it would have still been a stressful experience, but it was made less stressful because she didn't have that worry of having to find kind of double the money.
Yeah, obviously different policies cover different things and you buy different levels of it and things, so find what's suitable for you. And I think ours covered things like even just with wedding gifts, like sort of if they got stolen before you got home, or also the transportation of them from the venue to your home with breakages and that kind of thing. So yeah, just have a look into it.
And some places offer deals, so you might get a gift card if you take out a particular policy, and then it doesn't seem quite as bad, you can go shopping as well.
Slap on the blow.
Something else to consider when planning your wedding and talking about money is your budget. Now, you may get engaged and be all excited and then go straight on Pinterest and plan your entire wedding without thinking about your budget. So just think about what you realistically can afford, what you want to spend your money on, and just maybe rein it in slightly before you have your heart set on something that you realise is way out of budget.
Yeah. Because quite often, obviously on Pinterest and stuff, or in magazines and their shoots, you're seeing a setup of maybe one table where suppliers are doing their best work and showcasing that, but the cost of one table is very different to 12 or whatever your number is. So just try and look at it with that realistic lens on things. And as well, people might be parents or other family members and things might be giving you some money and things as well. So have a think about how all that factors in. And I think along with maybe that point as well is thinking about trying not too hard to please other people when you're planning your wedding. And that could be difficult when you're taking money from other people and things. And we've talked before in other videos about maybe discussing what their expectations about the money is, whether you have to invite 6 aunts you've never heard of and all that kind of thing. But knowing from the outset and what you're prepared to give and take on, and remembering it's your and your fiance's wedding, nobody else's. At the end of the day, it is about you two. And it's you that needs to enjoy it, and there'll be some give and take, but it's what you can be happy with.
You don't want to look back after the wedding and think, oh, that's not really what I wanted to do, I only did that because of so and so or for some reason. So just remember that you want to look back and be happy with your wedding and how you planned it. Something a bit more maybe practical, kind of, which you might not be aware of before kind of planning a wedding, if it's the first time you've done it, is kind of time scales. So if you go to a bridal,
take on too much as well.
Like a bridal retailer, wedding dresses can take up to 6 months from ordering to coming into the store. So just be prepared that you might need to kind of find your dress kind of well in advance of your date. There are alternatives. I mean, we've looked at various high street dresses, which obviously come a lot quicker.
Yeah, we'll link that video, some of those for you.
Yeah, and also like sample sales in bridal shops, so you buy kind of off the peg. But yeah, generally it's kind of minimum 4 months, I think, but 6 months to be on the safe side.
Yeah,
so it can kind of come in, you can go for your fittings and just make sure it's perfect.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, because it may take more than one session of alterations and things as well, and obviously, particularly if you're having a summer wedding, like trying to fit in the alterations with the bridal shop can be quite tricky as well. I know I was struggling with that a lot of my time. So again, just allowing enough time for like needing to go back. I think I had to go back 3, maybe 4 times.
Oh, wow.
So allow that time frame. And I suppose along the lines of dresses and thinking about bridesmaids and things, is maybe something you're not thought of is that obviously, like, it depends how long you're planning your wedding for. So obviously it could be 2+ years, in some cases it's 2 years for mine. And so in terms of choosing your bridal party, so choosing your bridesmaids or groomsmen and things, friendships change, lives alter, people move, have babies, dynamics change in friendships. And obviously the longer period you have of planning your wedding, the more scope there is for that to occur. So I suppose just a slight word of warning about maybe picking your bridal party too early on in the game, because then maybe by the time the wedding comes around, like maybe there's other people that have become more central in your life that you would rather have asked, or people will say that you've just grown distant from that would naturally still be part of it. It's just something to consider, really.
It won't always be the case, but it does happen. So just think about it. Yeah, just something to think about.
And as well, I think we just wanted to mention as well about not taking on too much for your wedding as well. So I know we're promoting all these DIY ideas, and which can help save you money and in personalising and things, but it does all take time.
And normally much longer than you think.
Yes. Yes, always factoring many more hours than you think it's going to take. Just bear that in mind. You don't want to stress yourself out. It is your wedding. Think about what you're prepared to do and what you're prepared to pay for, basically, to take the stress away. Particularly if they're things that have to be done last minute.
Yeah.
Maybe like if you're using like fresh flowers and that kind of thing and doing stuff with that. There's only so much time you've got in that week before your wedding. You probably actually want to enjoy some of that, like get your nails done, this kind of thing. So bear that in mind.
So something else to think about is your suppliers and when to book them.
Yes.
And we'd say as early as possible, really.
Yes. Earlier than you would ever imagine you would need to.
Especially if you're having a kind of wedding on at peak time, so like Saturdays, summertime. Yeah. Suppliers get booked up well in advance, especially say if some people are planning the wedding kind of 2 years in advance of the date. I know from my own experience, I was trying to find a makeup artist. This was a year in advance of the wedding. I must have tried 10 before one said they were available. So it was quite disheartening. So if you can book as early as possible.
So it makes the planning harder as well as sort of disappoint over ones that you might have be favouring as well.
Yeah, definitely. So as soon as you know that date and kind of you've looked around, you know what the kind of things you want, start asking people, are you available? Are you free on my date? Can I book you in? And just ignore those timelines in wedding magazines. We've said that before. Some of them are just really unrealistic, so you just may be disappointed if you're waiting until 3 months before the wedding to say book your wedding cake, because I know from my own kind of as a supplier of the wedding cakes that I've got bookings months and months in advance, so I mean I might be able to fit you in, and some people, yeah, you may get lucky and be free
Do you
on
want
the
me to
day.
put your company number up for that?
But yeah, just know that kind of people can get booked up.
Yeah, yeah. And of course as well, when it comes to suppliers, make sure you pay them.
Yeah.
So you don't, like, you may remember to pay your initial deposit perhaps to secure them initially and sign the contracts, send them back and all that, but different people have different timescales as to when they want to be paid and how much, when, like, some might spread it out, some might just be like the day before the wedding, the day of the wedding, a week after the wedding, you know, or halfway through. There's so many variations. So when you book, just get yourself a spreadsheet or a note page in your phone and things, so you've got the dates written down for all the different suppliers just as you go. And don't just wait till then a month before the wedding and be like, I feel like I need to pay people, and trying to find all the different paperwork. You'll just have a big nightmare of a headache. Yeah, maybe even set like alert reminders to go off in your phone, like on your calendar, like the day before it's due, so you can do it all. And if you can be super organised, you can even make like a note of all the bank details too, so you don't have to go through. That's maybe excessive. That's maybe just my level.
Yeah, because the last thing you'd want was for a supplier to cancel on you if you hadn't paid the balance. I mean, I would imagine most of them would
try and reach out, but
I guess they're not in any obligation. And I don't think your insurance would cover you in that scenario.
Yeah, so. Your error. Yeah.
Something to think about kind of on the day of the wedding are your timings. And again, when as we said about taking kind of projects on, everything takes longer than you expect. Moving people always takes longer than you expect as well.
Yeah, so, herding.
Yeah. So if you're kind of moving from your ceremony venue to a reception venue, if it's in a different place, or even if it's in the same place but you're moving people between rooms, just kind of factor in kind of some time, because people linger. And and
trying to funnel people through corridors and doors and to find their seats and everything. It takes longer than you would think. So don't just think, oh, we need 15 minutes for this and 10 minutes for an hour for this. Like, you've got to allow those slots in between the things.
So kind of when you're making your timings of the day, don't make it too rigid. Kind of give yourself some breathing space. So you don't feel like you're running massively behind schedule on the actual day.
Yeah, because you'll just end up getting stressed and throwing things off. And I suppose along with that, one of the things I think that we've both encountered at various weddings is that the length of the reception drinks, or cocktail hour, depending which country I'm talking to, they can be quite long. And I appreciate it's because, you know, the couple have probably had photographs taken, and it's usually used as a time when people are arriving maybe from a ceremony venue if it's been earlier on and things. So it serves a function. But I would say provide some kind of food at that point, because weddings are typically around lunch kind of time, and then by this point people are starting to get hungry. But also maybe think about just providing something for people to do in that time other than sort of stand and chat with a drink, because you quite typically usually got groups of people that don't know each other, or they're just sort of standing round, and it can be quite laborious.
We've touched on this in a previous video about guest experience.
Yeah, we'll link that above.
So you can go and check that out as well.
So we hope you find those points helpful, and some of them have hopefully lit some light bulbs off in your mind, and you can think about how to avoid those in your wedding. Check out our other videos. As I say, we'll link some of them above as we've been talking, but check them out. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time.